From OptizenAI. In this video, I'm just going to walk through a process that we use using a custom GPT we developed to help optimize product pages on our ecom stores. And you can use this in any ecom platform, so Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, or any others. While our app, OptizenAI, is only for Shopify, and it does this and much more, this process you can use on any ecom store. So just using a custom GPT and then Surf for SEO. So it's very simple, very quick to do. We've written a complete blog post here, and you can go through it step by step if you like. But in this video, I'm just going to go through the actual process and show you how it can be done. And it's for updating existing product pages. So if you've got a product page that's not doing well, or you want to update all your product pages and try and compete with the top competitors in the market, this gives you a nice foundation to do that. One thing I will say is make sure that you want to make sure that your structure and your topical map is sorted first. You want that foundation there. It's going to be difficult to rank any product page if you don't have your structure set up. We've got a number of different blog posts on that here in our blog, but also there's plenty of tutorials online and in YouTube where you can find information on that. So I'm not going to go into that here. I'm going to assume that your topical map and structure is sound and set up correctly. So the first thing you can do is come to ChatGPT. You'll need ChatGPT Pro. Go to you can come here to explore GPTs, and so we'll just do that now. And you can just type in Optizen, and it'll pop up. So it's this one here. Open it up and start chat. Okay, and now you've got your add product URL. So the first thing it's asking you to do is add the product URL. So we're just going to add up. That's not what we want. We want our product URL. I'm just going to go grab that. Okay, so we're going to paste our product URL in here. I'm just going to make sure I've got the correct HTTPS www, which is the correct one for this particular URL. And we'll let the product URL run through the GPT. So essentially the end result of going through this process is we want it to output content that we can update our existing product page with, including the product description, but also the SEO title, the SEO description, the H1 page title, and any other information that it deems necessary. So we're going to use competitors to help us with this process, but the first thing to do in the GPT is just add in your product into the field. Then it's going to ask you the next steps. Sometimes it'll do this individually. GPT can be inconsistent. Other times it'll do it like this, where it asks you in numerical form. So the first thing it's asking for is a core topic and product keyword. So the keyword we're going after is foresight equine. If we just come to Ahrefs, we can see in Australia, that's the market we want to rank in. There's pretty good search volume and traffic potential, a lot of variations, keyword difficulty reasonably easy. So that's just a guide. I won't go into it now, but you take that a little bit with a grain of salt, then you've got all your competitors. So we're just validating the term we're going to go after. If we put the actual full product name in there, you'll see that it looks like there's no search, and obviously there'll be no competition. Keyword difficulty is small. It will pull up the competitors here, but we want to go after the term where there's actually some sort of search volume and demand. This is just the core term that we're going to go after. So that's the first thing we're going to add in here. We're going to add in foresight equine, then shift enter, and then number 2, type of product. This is an equine, so a horse joint supplement. Shift enter. 3, main collection URL. So what this is essentially just at the end of the product description, it'll provide a URL with an anchor back to whatever main collection or sub collection you wish. You don't need to do this, but you'll need to do it to actually complete the flow of the ChatGPT, but you can delete it out if you don't want to add it. If you've got breadcrumbs, if you've got filtered links in the sidebar, for example, then there's no need to really have this, but you do have the ability then to control the anchor as well. So we're just going to add in our link. So it's the main collection URL and the anchor text. So we'll just use a dummy domain here, /horse health collections. If we assume it's a Shopify store, horse health, and then the anchor is back to the horse health collection. So that link will be added at the bottom of the product page, linking back to the core collection. So you're always providing that relevance back to the main collection. Again, like I said, if you've got breadcrumbs in place, sidebar filter links, you don't necessarily need to do this, but you'll need to add it in to complete the GPT. It's just a process that we use. Okay, so number 3, and then the next thing it wants is number 4. It wants our competitors from Surfer. So if you haven't got Surfer, you need to grab Surfer. Well worth the cost per month to go through this process, and your blog post and anything else you want to do content-wise. It's our go-to every day for content. So this one I've actually already completed. We'll just go back to the dashboard. So it's under Content Editor, and then you type in obviously your main keyword, and we'll put it in here. So put it in here, then give it your region, and then click Create for one credit. So I've already done that. We're just going to open it up, and we're going to pretend that this content's not here. So you want to go and look at your competitors. So click on the gear icon up the top here. And what this does is, many of you are already using Surf SEO. It gives you, I'll just go back. I don't know why I did that. I was trying to move my screen. It will give you the top 10 competitors for that particular keyword in the region. So these are all the competitors here. So we want to choose these. We want to choose wisely. Go and check all these manually. Don't just assume that Surfer gets it correct. You don't want to be competing against Amazon or eBay or major e-commerce stores where you're not comparing apples to apples. You want to find similar type of pages, similar intent, similar e-com stores to yours, so you're actually trying to compete with similar types of sites and similar intent. So these are the ones we've chosen. What we'll do is just look at one of the pages. So you can see here, this is a standard e-commerce page. I think looks like it's Shopify as well. Pretty poor product image. All the information here, and then we've got the product description, which is one of the main things we're going after. You can see it's just a standard product description. It's got some bullet points, some headings, but nothing spectacular. And it's ranking on page 1. And then many of the others are the same. So we want to know that we're kind of going to be in the ballpark. So that is pretty good. Okay, so we come back to Surf SEO, then come up to Brief, and your competitors are right here. So you can just copy those. Head back to chatgpt, and then we're going to paste those competitors in. And now you click Run. And now what the GPT will do, it'll go through each of those URLs, and it'll get the data that it needs. It'll truncate the description, but it'll have all that data stored. Then we'll go to the next URL. So you'll find at times, sometimes it doesn't actually crawl all 5 URLs, depending on if there's a block or the page doesn't open or whatever. But most of the time, it'll grab all the URLs it needs. So you can see here, it missed number 2 for some reason. Or I might do it down the bottom. So I'll let that run. Okay, it's finished the process. So you can see what it's done. It gives us all 5 SEO titles. So that one there, number 2, couldn't be retrieved. So that's why it didn't come through. Sometimes it'll spit out this information in a different layout. So sometimes it's just inconsistent. So if it's not identical to this, don't worry, but you'll get the same information back. And it's got all the product descriptions here. And then the next step, it's asking us to provide the NLP keywords from Surfer SEO. So if we go back to Surfer and then come up to guidelines, and then you can see here NLP, click on NLP and scroll to the bottom and copy all these keywords here. Again, we're assuming this is blank, but the keywords are all going to be the same. Come back to the GPT, paste in all those NLP keywords, and then hit run. And now what it's going to go through and actually create our content. So I'll just pause this while that's completing. Okay, so we let it run, and you can see it brought back the content in HTML format. Now, I wasn't happy with the amount of content it brought back. So what I've just done is I've asked it to expand on the product description to include more of the NLP keywords and create 1 or 2 more paragraphs. Also output in non-HTML, but keep the styling. So why I ask it to output in non-HTML is so we can just paste this into Surfer and we don't have to worry about the HTML that's in there. So you can see here, so this section here, what's actually in italics, that's actually an STS. So that's a strategic text sequence. So I won't go into detail here, but we've started to use these at the top of our product descriptions. It is a way of looking at AI and AI into the future and how large language models, things such as AI for search on websites themselves, AI for search in search engines, any large language models that actually are trying to gather and output information on products. There's been a number of different studies to show that if you use a strategic text sequence in your product page or your product description, that it gives you a better chance to show up and be found in those large language models. So as things evolve and many different e-com marketplaces, Amazon, eBay, and a lot of them are using this type of technology already for their search functions, that if you've got that strategic text sequence there, it helps your product actually show up in that large language model. So it's a way of, it's kind of like SEO for AI. It's at the very early stages. In our mind, it can't hurt. We're giving the SEO algorithms some extra rich content that's going to help anyway, and we haven't seen any detrimental effects. So that's why we've added that here. We've got a number of different blog posts on STS in our blog section as well, so you can go and read that if you wish. So now you can see that it actually outputted or provided us content in 4 paragraphs. It's actually not bad quality. Got the main features of the product in, and then we've got our bullet points here. Okay, so we've pasted the content over to Surfer. What it didn't do with the output is give us this title, so we've added that in as our H1, and make sure that's H1 because that's is quite a significant part of your Surf SEO score. Then we've got the rest of the content here, main features. So we might actually make this a H2. It's probably not going to make much difference to the score. It doesn't. Then we've got our bullet points. So when we first pasted this in, the score was 48. And then we use the auto optimize feature, which is a new feature of Surfer. And then it brought it up to 69. So it's right on, close to that 70 mark that we kind of look at. So then what we can go through if we want to is actually look at some of these other terms and NLP terms and weave them into the content. Surfer has an AI feature that'll do that for you as well if you wish. But at this point, we tend to do it manually just so we can get the context right and that humanization of the content. But you'll see here that the quality of this content output from the GPT is actually pretty good out of the box. Now, one extra thing you might want to do, which is not part of the GPT at the moment, you might want to bold some of these NLP keywords, so the important terms. So we've got joint health there. We want to bold this. What else do we have? Horses, that's obviously an entity. So we're going to bold horse or horses. High performance horses, we're going to bold that. We'll bold the brand and the product name again in the content. Joint function we're going to bold. So you don't want to go overboard, but certainly there's evidence to suggest that this can help, certainly after the recent rounds of Google Core updates and HCU. So that's the process we go through. We end up with this content, very quick process once you get used to it. That's reasonable quality or adequate quality that then you can humanize a little bit further. I'm not going to go into all the details of the prompts we have within the custom GPT. Some of that stuff we're probably not going to release just yet. We may do later. There is some semantic prompts in there that we're still testing. And once we've really tweaked it and we're happy with that, then we'll do some more content on those. Okay, I hope that makes sense. As usual, if you've got any questions, just let us know.